Hey traders, Tradiest Trades here with another COT setup market for you, another red pill this week. There's lots of COT setups, and I'm going to share here on YouTube today the setup in coffee. If you want to know all the setup markets, you should head on over to my Discord, and you can learn how to get into the Discord at the end of the video here. And just before I go into it, no trading advice here, no investment advice. This is supposed to just be educational and informational. Do with it what you will. And also I give credit to Larry Williams, who came up with these market analysis concepts that I use to find setups. So why is coffee set up, and which direction is it set up to go? So I am looking for longs on coffee. I really like coffee for a variety of reasons. I like this setup because it is in alignment with a much more dominant and very strong uptrend. This is the 52-week moving average. If you were to throw on the 200-day average, it's the same kind of thing. It's up. It's a strong uptrend. So a lot of times COT setups are in conflict, or they're counter trend trades. They're against the dominant trend, whereas coffee, in this case, we're looking for longs. It is in alignment with the strong uptrend. So putting these COT setups in alignment with trend is it's a potent tool. So that's part of why I really like this setup. So let's look at why I think it's set up for long. So first of all, the commercials are very long. So this is the COT index with the 26-week look back, telling us that the commercials relative to the last 26 weeks are very long. Now, we also see down here that relative to the price of gold, the gold line, this indicator here compares the price of the asset, in this case coffee, and it compares it to the price of gold, what's considered a storehouse of value. So we see that as of right now, coffee is very undervalued relative to the price of gold. So there's two codes. That's two things that I'm looking for. Then we also, if we go on over to this here, we see a bubble up happening. So we see the commercials getting very long, while the large specs and the small specs are getting out, creating this visual bubble here. We see between these two net positioning lines, kind of creates a bubble. Look at this little bubble here. When the commercials got long and it bubbled up against the large speculators, that was a nice time to go long. Same thing that happened here. This bubble up here preceded a nice low. So that's what's happening here, to quite a large scale. Another thing that I noticed that's interesting is that the commercials are around this max long positioning. The last time they were this long was back in December of 2023. And what's worth noting is they were this long back then when we were at much lower prices. So now, even at higher prices, their positioning is even more bullish. So that to me is extremely bullish for coffee. So we have positioning, we have valuation, we have the visual bubble up, we also have seasonal. So let's take a look at seasonal. There's a really strong seasonal tendency right now for coffee to rally. Actually, starting this week coming up is when coffee typically puts in a seasonal low and then rallies basically up until end of August before a little pullback and continuation of the up move. So that is very bullish. Looking a little closer under the hood of coffee, if I take the seasonal now on the daily time frame, what I notice is that coffee does have some signs of bullishly diverging from the seasonal. So for example, this low here that happened in April, typically, if we look at the seasonal down here, typically by now price is a lot lower based on the seasonal. You see the seasonal typically is for coffee to be lower than that April price point, but what we see is price is actually stronger. So price is bullishly diverging from the seasonal. That to me tells me there's probably pretty good odds that this seasonal is going to actually play out. Right now it's in alignment with the seasonal, so we see seasonal tendency is for coffee to be lower in mid-June than it was at the end of May, and we see that's playing out right now. Most likely we are lower right now, so it's in alignment, and then along with these things showing some bullish divergence from the seasonal makes me think the seasonal has a decent odds of actually playing out. And the final two setup conditions here, I have to go over to this section of my computer, and what we're going to see here is basically coffee's pricing structure based on the contracts is we have a front month premium. So here's the front month here with the most volume and open interest. So it's trading for more than the next month out and more than the next month out. And if you go all the way out basically into the future, each of the front months are trading for more. So that's a premium market. So that tells me the commercials really want this market. They want it bad enough to bid it into a premium. A more typical market structure, or pricing structure I should say, is for the front month to be less than the next month out, and that is because there's a carrying charge to hold it. So the person agreeing to sell it to you in the future has taken on the cost of insuring the commodity, storing it, and protecting them against the great unknown. Who knows what's going to happen to prices, right? So typically you add the carrying charge. So right now we have a premium, so that's very bullish. And then also, I'm just going to move my screen around so I can get to this next spread chart. And we also saw this week the spread, or last week, the spread between the front month and the next month out started to bullishly diverge. So we saw price made a slightly lower low here, and then what's interesting is the spread started to actually hold up. So that tells me that the commercials are bidding the front month to a premium. It's already in a premium, but they're aggressively bidding the front month, and that is a bullish market condition. So that's the setup. Those are the setup conditions. Now I'm going to show you what it would take for me to get involved in this market. So over here on the left chart, in fact, I'll just get rid of the right chart for now. I have the daily chart for the September futures contract for coffee. So what I notice right now is we are in a downtrend on the 50 and the 200 and the 20-day moving average. So we're in a pullback, which is quite obvious just looking at the price, but just using the moving averages to confirm it, that tells us we're in a pullback right now. But the 200-day moving average, which is this black line here, still obviously quite clearly strong and up. So what I'm looking for is I need an 18-period, or I guess a 20-period moving average trend change. So the blue line here, the 20-period moving average, I'll need two full range bars to close above the 20-period moving average, none of which can be inside bars, and then I'll want to see follow through above the high of those two bars, and that to me will tell me the trend has changed. And then from there I'll be looking to buy oversold pullbacks based on the percent R readings. Until then, basically, I think until that happens, I think rallies can be sold. We're in a downtrend on the 50. That usually means that rallies are good selling opportunities. Knowing that the COT is set up for longs, maybe be a bit more aggressive on taking profits if you are shorting this thing. But the thing to keep in mind is these COT setup conditions can linger for a very long time. It can take weeks to months for these setups to actually trigger into a full-on shift in trend. So keep that in mind. Just because this is set up does not mean that the trend's just going to instantly change. These things can take time. That is why I think it's wise to wait for a 20-period moving average trend change. It's a stronger signal that the trend has indeed changed, and then you can work that side of the market. So that's the COT setup. If you like this, if you have questions, you can shoot me an email at tradiustrades@gmail.com. If you'd like to get into my Discord, I share all of the COT setup markets and discuss all of my trend following trades, as well as discuss with a great group of people. So shoot an email and I'll get you your private invite link. And hope you found this valuable. If you did, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, guys. I really appreciate your support. And hope you have a great week trading, and we'll see you next weekend. Bye-bye.